I'm Jeremy day268 of reading. Today reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Let's get started. We are currently on page 339. Let's go. Harry's brain fills with a sort of blank buzzing, which didn't seem to allow for concentration. He stared hopelessly down at the index of basic hexes for the busy and vexed. Instant scalping. But dragons had no hair. Pepper breath. But that would just increase the dragon's firepower. Horn tongue. Just what he needed to give it an extra weapon. Oh no, he's back again. Why can't he read on his stupid ship? Said Hermione irritably as Victor Crumb slouched in. Cast a thoroughly look at the pair of them and settled himself in a distant corner with a pile of books. Come on, Harry. We'll go back to the common room. His fan club will be here any moment, twittering away. And sure enough, as they left the library, a gang of girls tiptoed past them, one of them wearing a Bulgaria scarf tied around her waist. Harry barely slept that night. When he awoke on Monday morning, he seriously considered for the first time ever just running away from Hogwarts. But as he looked around in the great hall at breakfast time and thought about what leaving the castle would mean, he knew he couldn't do it. It was the only place he had ever been happy. Well, he supposed he must have been happy with his parents too, but he couldn't remember that. Somehow, the knowledge that he would rather be here and facing a dragon than back on Privet Drive with Dudley was good to know. It made him feel slightly calmer. He finished his bacon with difficulty. His throat wasn't working too well, and as he and Hermione got up, he saw Cedric Diggory leaving the Hufflepuff table. Cedric still didn't know about the dragons, the only champion who didn't. If Harry was right in thinking that Maxime and Karkaroff would have told Fleur and Crumb. Hermione, I'll see you in the greenhouses, Harry said, coming to his decision as he watched Cedric leave the hall. Go on, I'll catch you up. Harry, you'll be late. The bell's about to ring. I'll catch up to you, okay? But the time Harry reached the bottom of the marble staircase, Cedric was at the top. He was with a load of 6-year friends. Harry didn't want to talk to Cedric in front of them. They were among those who had been quoting Rita Skeeter's article at him every time he went near them. He followed Cedric at a distance and saw that he was heading toward the Charms corridor. This gave Harry an idea. Pausing at his distance from them, he pulled out his wand and took careful aim. Defindo. I cannot tell if that's an F or an I. Okay. Defendo, I guess. Cedric's bag split. Parchments, quills, and books spilled out of it onto the floor. Several bottles of ink smashed. Don't bother, said Cedric in an exasperated voice as his friend Brent bent down to help him. Tell Flitwick I'm coming. Go on. This was exactly what Harry had been hoping for. He slipped his wand back into his robes, waited until Cedric's friends had disappeared into their classroom, and hurried up the corridor, which was now empty of everyone but him and Cedric. Hi, said Cedric, picking up a copy of a Guide to Advanced Transfiguration that was now splattered with ink. My bag just split, brand new and all. Cedric, said Harry, the first task is dragons, said Cedric. Wait. The first task is dragons. What? Said Cedric, looking up. Dragons, said Harry, speaking quickly, in class Professor Flitwick came out to see where Cedric had got to. They've got one for each of us, and we've got to get past them. Cedric stared at him. Harry saw some of the panic he'd been feeling since Saturday night flickering in Cedric's gray eyes. Are you sure? Cedric said in a hushed voice. Dead sure, said Harry. I've seen them. But how did you find out? We're not supposed to know. Never mind, said Harry quickly. He knew Hagrid would be in trouble if he told the truth. But I'm not the only one who knows. Fleur and Crumb will know by now. Madame Maxime and Karkaroff both saw the dragons too. Cedric straightened up, his arm full of inky quills, parchment, and books, his ripped bag dangling off one shoulder. He stared at Harry, and there was a puzzled, almost suspicious look in his eyes. What are you telling me? he asked. Harry looked at him in disbelief. He was sure Cedric wouldn't have asked that if he had seen the dragons himself. He wouldn't have let his worst enemy face those monsters unprepared. Well, perhaps Malfoy or Snape. It's just fair, isn't it? He said to Cedric. We all know now we're on an even footing, aren't we? Cedric was still looking at him in a slightly suspicious way when Harry heard a familiar clunking noise behind him. He turned around and saw Mad-Eye Moody emerging from a nearby classroom. Come with me, Potter, he growled. Diggory, off you go. Harry stared apprehensively at Moody. Had he overheard them? Professor, I'm supposed to be in herbology. Never mind that, Potter. In my office, please. Harry followed him, wondering what was going to happen to him now. What if Moody wanted to know how he found out about the dragons? Would Moody go to Dumbledore and tell on Hagrid, or just turn Harry into a ferret? Well, it might be easier to get past a dragon if he were a ferret. Harry thought dully. He'd be much smaller, much less easy to see from a height of 50 feet. He followed Moody into his office. Moody closed the door behind them and turned to look at Harry, his magical eyes fixed upon him as well as the normal one. That was a very decent thing you just did, Potter, Moody said quietly. Harry didn't know what to say. This wasn't the reaction he had expected at all. Sit down, said Moody, and Harry sat, looking around. He had visited this office under two of its previous occupants. In Professor Lockhart's day, the walls had been plastered with beaming, winking pictures of Professor Lockhart himself. When Lupin had lived here, you were most likely to come across a specimen of some fascinating new dark creature he had procured for them to study in class. Now, however, the office was full of a number of exceptionally odd objects that Harry supposed Moody had used in the days when he had been an Auror. On his desk stood what looked like a large, cracked glass spinning top. Harry recognized it at once as a sneakoscope because he owned one himself, though it was much smaller than Moody's. In a corner on a small table stood an object that looked something like an extra squiggly golden television aerial. It was humming slightly, but what appeared to be a mirror hung opposite Harry on the wall, but it was not reflecting the room. Shadowy figures were moving around inside it, none of them clearly in focus. Like my dark detectors, do you? Said Moody, who was watching Harry closely. What's that? Harry asked, pointing at the squiggly golden aerial. Secrecy sensor. Vibrates when it detects concealment and lies. No use here, of course. Too much interference. Students in every direction lying about why they haven't done their homeworks. Been humming ever since I got here. I had to disable my sneakoscope because it wouldn't stop whistling. It's extra sensitive. Picks up about a mile around. And of course, it could be picking up more than kid stuff, he added in a growl. And what's the mirror for? Oh, that's my faux glass. See them out there, sulking or skulking around? I'm not really in trouble until I see the whites of their eyes. That's when I open my trunk. He let out a short, harsh laugh and pointed to the large trunk under the window. It had 7 keyholes in a row. Harry wondered what was in there, until Moody's next question brought him sharply back to Earth. Yeah, Earth to Harry. So, found out about the dragons, have you? Harry hesitated. He had been afraid of this, but he hadn't told Cedric it, and he certainly wasn't going to tell Moody that Hagrid had broken the rules. It's all right, said Moody, sitting down and stretching out his wooden leg with a groan. Cheating's a traditional part of the Triwizard Tournament and always has been. I didn't cheat, said Harry sharply. It was a sort of accident that I found out. Moody grinned. I wasn't accusing you, laddie. I've been telling Dumbledore from the start. He can be as high-minded as he likes, but you can bet old Karkaroff and Maxime won't be. They'll have told their champions everything they can. They want to win. They want to be Dumbledore. They'd like to prove he's only human. Moody gave another harsh laugh, and his magical eyes swiveled around so fast it made Harry feel queasy to watch it. So, got any ideas how you